April 5, 1923. In a Cairo hotel room, a wealthy British lord is shivering with a violent fever. At exactly 1:55 a.m., his heart stops. At that same moment, the entire city of Cairo plunges into a total blackout. Thousands of miles away in England, the lord's pet dog reportedly began howling in distress before collapsing dead on the floor. Months earlier, this man had unsealed a 3,000-year-old tomb. The press claimed a warning was found at the entrance. Death shall come on swift wings to whoever disturbs the peace of the pharaoh. By 1929, 22 people connected to the tomb had died, falling to sudden fevers, heart failure, and even suicide. The pattern was so disturbing that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, publicly stated that an evil elemental was likely responsible for the deaths. We are left with a choice. Either a mummy murdered nearly 24 people from the afterlife, or the world fell for history's most successful media hoax. Archaeologist Howard Carter and his financier, Lord Carnarvon, spent 15 years and the modern equivalent of millions of dollars digging through the Valley of the Kings. By late 1922, they were on their final season of funding with nothing to show for it. On November 4th, workers uncovered a stone staircase. It led to a door sealed with the royal mark of a forgotten pharaoh named Tutankhamun. Carter made a tiny breach in the door, held a candle to the hole, and peered inside. Inside were 5,398 objects, including golden chariots, 130 walking sticks, and a solid gold coffin. It was the most significant archaeological find in history. Local panic began almost immediately. Carter's pet canary was eaten by a cobra that had slithered into its cage, a symbolic event for Egyptians, as the cobra represented royal protection. When Carnarvon died shortly after from an infected mosquito bite, newspapers had a narrative they couldn't resist. They branded it the Curse of the Pharaohs. The combination of glittering gold and sudden high-profile deaths created a mystery the public was ready to believe without seeing a single piece of evidence. There is one problem with the foundational evidence of this curse. The clay tablet warning of swift wings of death never actually existed. A reporter for the Daily Mail and an amateur archaeologist entirely fabricated the text of the curse to drive newspaper sales during a period of intense media competition. When asked for a comment on these rumors, a tomb security guard reportedly gave a silent, ambiguous smile. The reporter used that silence to validate the fake story for his readers. Opportunistic journalism and a global public eager for a mystery built a legend that outlasted the actual excavation. The supernatural blackout in Cairo has a simple explanation. In the 1920s, Cairo's power grid was notoriously unreliable. Power cuts were a common feature of daily life in the city. The dog's simultaneous death also falls apart when you account for the 4-hour time difference between Egypt and England. The deaths occurred hours apart. Many of the respiratory illnesses were likely caused by Aspergillus niger, a fungus that can survive in sealed tombs for centuries and was particularly dangerous in a world before penicillin. Investigator James Randi used statistical analysis to track the 22 individuals labeled as cursed to see if they actually died prematurely. The math shows that the average age of death for the cursed group was 73 years old. Compared to standard life expectancies in the 1920s, the people who unsealed the tomb actually lived longer than the average citizen of the time. The ultimate alibi is Howard Carter. As the man who spent years handling the mummy directly, he should have been the curse's primary target. Instead, he lived for another 16 years. Science and data leave no room for the supernatural here. There is simply no evidence of a curse. The terrifying pharaoh was actually a teenager born into a royal line crippled by generations of inbreeding. He suffered from a severe clubfoot that made it impossible for him to walk unassisted. This physical reality is why his tomb contained 130 separate walking sticks. His death was the result of a bone disorder and a case of malaria, not a heroic battle or a divine event. He was considered so insignificant that his successors intentionally chiseled his name off of historical records, attempting to erase him from the memory of the world. This 10-kilogram gold mask presents a godlike image that contradicts the physical reality of the frail teenager it was built to protect. Ancient Egyptians believed that a person only truly dies when the last living soul stops speaking their name. For 3,000 years, his successors were successful. Tutankhamun's name was buried in the sand, and the world forgot he ever existed. The 1922 discovery and the subsequent global obsession with the curse resurrected his name across every continent. The viral power of those 1920s headlines granted Tutankhamun a global name recognition that has endured for a century, ensuring that history's most forgotten boy king achieved true immortality.